Yeah, hi friends. Doc South here, bidding you welcome. From a vantage point here, overlooking the beautiful Musconetcong River in Port Murray, New Jersey. Frankly, if I got just the right angle for the photo, couldn't do it now. It's dark out, but if I could, you'd think I was webcasting from West Virginia somewhere, or up in Sullivan County, Pennsylvania, and it's Jersey. Yeah, there's a friend, Anthony, evidently put a posting on Facebook saying what people think when I say I'm from Jersey, and it's the turnpike and all sorts of smoke belching out of a factory and like that. And then below that it says what I mean when I say I'm from New Jersey, and it's a beautiful little pond, a fishing lake with fall leaves coming, in full splendor, shall we say? And it's to me, it's I think Anthony's got the right idea. New Jersey is. Sure, there's areas in any state where things are a little, shall we say, congested. But really, this neck of the woods, northwestern New Jersey, I remember having people come to visit me from 400 or 500 miles away down south of my old town, stomping grounds of Wilson, North Carolina, which is basically pretty flat and pretty. They'd say, "My God, I didn't realize New Jersey was like this. I thought it all looked like something out of The Sopranos." No, yeah, there's areas like that, but even those areas actually have their beautiful spots. Areas, sure, and certainly good restaurants. My gosh, the but here I got to say, my ride to work is something that honestly I could probably make more money. I drive from, first off, let me just say, I drive from, say, Port Murray, New Jersey, up to Blairstown, New York. And quite honestly, my ride is so pretty that I dare say I could probably get a bus and charge admission and do a tour. And like they do, near Yosemite Park or whatever. On the left, you will see, I think it could be pretty darn good. Maybe make a few stopovers, get off the main highway, take people to see one thing or another. I dare say. But there's more than enough to see just from the road itself. Heck, the road we live on, Sandy and I, it's a lane, Ruth Lane. Okay, beautiful. You head down the lane. It's in the fall. We have all those beautiful fall leaves. God's gorgeous. Even in the spring, there's flowers in the trees and such, and little critters running here and there. Then, gosh, you cross. I always love to cross over the Musconetcong River right there. There's a brand new bridge, and you look at that, and the river just. Yeah, evidently there must have been a mill there at one time. Some of the old machinery or the I guess the sluice gates would be there. The various gates for powering the mill. It must have been a water mill. Or I can go down Old Turnpike Road, which was an ancient road where I guess, Old Turnpike, I'm assuming someone must have charged admission to that road. Maybe it was easier to take that road than perhaps the road that would have taken you right along the river where you could get flooded out, or it might have been a little too narrow at that time. Who knows? But it was a long time ago. But when I go down Old Turnpike Road, I catch a glimpse of this beautiful old bridge that looks very much like the bridge in Antietam, that was so heavily fought for during the Battle of Antietam and during the Civil War. If you once you go across, it's like a multiple arched brick bridge. Yes, oh, it's gorgeous, just pretty as pie, brand new, but it looks like it's from the 1860s. Yeah, it was pretty neat. Now, once you get off that bridge, you're on Route 57. If you go to the right, you can ride down the highway about 2 or 3 miles. There's a doggone pink hippo in the river, right? Yeah. But if I'm heading to work, I go to the left and I start heading for Washington, New Jersey. I don't go far before all of a sudden I'm going up a little bit of a bluff that this time of year with the leaves not on the trees, you overlook the Musconetcong River as it heads for the next mill building, grain mill or what have you. You top that, you ride along sort of a cliff that, well, if you stopped your car and walked a little bit into the woods off to your left, you'd be overlooking the Musconetcong again, but from a rather high vantage point. You cross, you handle that hill, get to the top of it, and in your car, and now you got this wonderful vista of all these different the various mountains off to the left. Just and long sloping hills up and down, up and down. Where you're at one hill, you're at the crest of one hill, and the other hill is about a mile and a half away, and you've got to go down into the valley and up the other side. Kind of cool. There's one area where, if you know where to look, there's an area where a rather popular railroad at one time traveled, but also the Morris Canal went through in that off to your right, to the north of the highway. You go into Washington, New Jersey, there's a very old classic railroad bridge, concrete, and I remember as a kid seeing trains travel that thing, freight trains and passenger, they would be heading either towards down the highway to, I guess, Somerville eventually, or certainly High Bridge, Clinton, New Jersey, that neck of the woods, or they'd be heading over to Hackettstown, Lake Apacon, and Points East. But okay, so now on my road, I take Route 31 north. Couldn't ask for a prettier ride. You travel up and down these gorgeous long wooded valleys, and in one case, one hill, most people don't know it, but the hill just below the mountain, just south of Oxford, there's a tunnel goes through it, the old railroad tunnel. The railroad that went through, well, the trains that went through that tunnel were heading south. They were heading for Washington, New Jersey. If they were heading north, well, they'd come out near eventually they'd be heading for the Water Gap, Delaware Water Gap. Also, if you're on Route 31 and you've crested that hill between Washington and Route 31, and Oxford, there's on the downslope as you're going downgrade into Oxford, New Jersey. If you know where to look, you catch your first glimpse of the Delaware Water Gap. Yep, you can see it through there's like a little notch in the mountains, and you can just see it. Yeah, most people are too busy looking at traffic, but there on days when there isn't much traffic. Well, you can get a nice little peek at the Water Gap. Oh gosh, then you travel through Oxford, which, by the way, when you're at the traffic light in the middle of Oxford, it's there right across from you. So if you straight ahead, you can see some old, I guess, the mansions that belonged to the people that owned the mines, the iron mines that used to operate in Oxford. Of course, trains went through there like crazy. You then take a kind of a serpentine road. My advice would be, first off, what you do is you stop and you drive around in Oxford for a bit, because quite honestly, there's some, especially to the west of Route 31, there's some mighty steep hills that the residents of that town got to navigate, and I would imagine it'd be a white knuckle ride on a snowy day. Get a little black ice there, man. You don't have a car anymore. You got a hockey puck, right? Oh, and there's places, antique shops start showing up north of Oxford. Just beautiful. You eventually come to a T in the road where Route 31 stops. Route 31 stops, but you're on this big old concrete bridge. I'm assuming now, God, that bridge might be 90 years old. Still there, though, doing fine. Taking all sorts of traffic. That's a bridge over the Pequest River. And if you look upstream to your right, if you're heading north, You'll see other railroad bridges. That area was kind of a crossroads and a switch for various trains. Some trains would head towards Hackettstown, some would head towards Washington. Actually, the trains that I say head for Hackettstown really went to Great Meadows and then across and up to Andover and such. So at one time, that was again, I can remember as a kid seeing these trains travel along the basically above the highway and along it. You know, you'd be sort of traveling in the same valley, but the trains would be up a little higher. About if you're heading west on Route 46 now, in other words, you made a left at the light. You don't go but a mile or two, and doggone it if there isn't Hot Dog Johnny's, one of the great hot dog places in the world, bar none. Great French fries, wonderful hot dogs, and you get yourself a birch beer there, and life is good. And that's been there, God, a long time. As long as I've been around, I think there's been Hot Dog Johnny's. I used to have a dog could actually see that big neon hot dog in the night, and if we were driving by there, he'd go berserk. An old Labrador Retriever named Josh. You had to get him a hot dog. If you didn't stop, he'd just whine the rest of the trip. And so we get him one with everything. Yeah, even the onions. Josh didn't care. That dog ate steel wool if he had to, or he would. And he thrived on it. Yeah, well, it was roughage, right? But he'd swallow that hot dog in one bite and he'd want another, and you had to go get it, or like I said, you never hear the end of it. But you continue up on 46. Gosh, on weekends there's this wonderful flea market, 5 Acres Flea Market. Not more than about 2 miles from Hot Dog Johnny's. Go a little further up, you start hitting some of these old, tourist stops along the way. Yep, some truckers go in all through there to get fuel, so you get a good look at some neat trucks as they're looking for the cheapest diesel. There's Luigi's Rancho, which has been there, phew, I'm assuming since the 20s. I don't know for sure, but it sure looks like it could be. There's Mama's Restaurant has a nice banquet hall there, a little bit up the road past Luigi's. There's, if you want, you'll see a turnoff for Belvedere. You turn into Belvedere, and you turn off 46 and the road into Belvedere, and you'll find Belvedere a treat. It's about as Victorian a town as you'll ever see. Beautiful town. Absolutely gut-wrenching beautiful. Pequest River flows through it. I think I hear sometimes it flows over it, but it's all there for you to look at. And again, much of it looking like it might have looked back, in the 1890s. I mean, I'm not kidding. And you travel again. Now, once you're on Route 46 and you're heading for the Water Gap, you're making the final run. You're along the river, the Delaware River, for much of the trip. You can see it, and it's absolutely as pretty as pie. It's basically the river, your road, and then cliffs rising up. If you're heading to westbound, those cliffs are on your right, and some of the hills the cliffs some of them are rather high. Used to be a number of villages all through there, and you can sometimes take the side streets and go through them. My advice would be any road going off to the east is, if you got nothing else to do, it's kind of fun to ride along them and just look at the scenery. Every now and then you'll come across some beautiful vista or a very old building that will catch your eye. It's kind of fun, and almost always on the weekends, somewhere in there's a garage sale. Yeah, of course. And gosh, I know there's spots too where you'll find like hot dog stands that were there 70, 80 years ago. They were there in the 40s, some of them, and they all serve great food. And but eventually, you're riding along. Again, you got the river to look at, and the crops in the growing season, the leaves in the fall, the snow in the winter, and there you are. And eventually you get to an intersection, kind of a cloverleaf area, where you can get on Route 80 if you want, or you can take Route 94 up, into northwestern New Jersey, basically. My advice would be take that ride, Route 94. There's also a way to get into Pennsylvania, and you can travel and see some beautiful vistas in the Keystone State, crossing I think it's a $1 toll bridge for cars. Or you can travel further up, you eventually get on Route 80 if you're heading for the Water Gap. But you can see the Water Gap good and clear by that point, and it's always pretty. But now Route 94, I take that to go to my work, the store I work in. And there's wineries along the way. There's one thing, if you really, this time of year with the leaves down, if you can catch a glimpse of it, it's worth seeing. And you could probably look it up. It's the Paulinskill Viaduct. This was something that was built to take train traffic over above the Paulinskill River Valley. It's a beautiful viaduct. Honestly, it'll take your breath away. You can see it. If you know where to look, you can see it from the highway. But you got to be quick. Yeah, you could lose it. And if you're driving, it's probably not a good idea to be looking for it and then driving at the same time. Have someone riding shotgun, see if they can find it for you. I know there's ways to get directions to see it. There's even one road. I read this the other day. A friend of mine said something he likes to do. There's a road that hits that viaduct from the other direction. And you're riding along, you can't see it. And again, this is a concrete structure that I'm assuming must span, the upper span where the train would be going over it, is probably a half mile, probably around a half mile. The viaduct itself is concrete arches, and they built this in the early 1900s. And it could still take train traffic. It doesn't anymore, but it could. It's probably 100 to 150 feet high. This thing is a breathtaking thing to see. And to think that people built it so long ago, about 110 years ago, 120 years ago, they did. Right. And but if you can get to see that, there are ways to find it. Again, Paulinskill Viaduct. And it's not even a half mile from Route 94. There's shops along the way. There's one, farmer in the growing season. He has like a little stand. It just says, you're on your own as far as buying the vegetables. He just hopes you'll put a buck or two in, whatever he wants for his tomatoes or his cabbage or his corn, and there you are. Yeah. And it's kind of fun. And again, the town of Blairstown is an old town, very beautiful, and beyond, all the way up into Newton. And Newton's pretty cool too. So all I can say is, yeah, Jersey, plenty of beautiful roads, and northwestern New Jersey, especially beautiful. Honestly, can't hardly tell it from Pennsylvania. Get right down. Can't hardly tell it from heaven. It's best I can say. It's beautiful up there. So anyway, that's my ride to work. The ride back home's just as nice, just from a different vantage point. Yes. And every now and then I just like to, as I'm pulling up to Hot Dog Johnny's, I check my pocket. If I got enough money, I like to run in there and just get a bag of their French fries. And maybe a birch beer. Okay, and a hot dog too. But yeah, delicious. Anyway, I thought I'd say. So there you go. Hope you enjoyed. Again, Doc South here, speaking up for New Jersey. Many, many beautiful roads. Yes. Oh, yes, indeed. Okay. I'll see you later, friends. Thank you. God bless.